So this
Right.
way, the pace of news reportage and opinion making has accelerated rapidly with the advent of new technologies in mass media.
What do you think more can be done from the traditional media houses to bring more people to that to the consumption of the traditional media? More than that, the trust that media is the one that needs to that's a validated media that can be relied on, and independent what you call thoughts on different sort of medias can be read, but that's not something they will be fully you can fully rely them on for taking business decisions, or even a lot of political stuff also, because that helps you decide on your business plans for the future. But traditional media, like even for Reuters or Bloomberg, if you read their news, you can take decisions on that, even for traditional media also, because most of the things are happening real time also. Everybody is carrying things that is happening digitally also. At Twitter they carry, they have all got Twitter handles, and immediately something happens they carry that. So what are the things you think they can do to bring that back, the old trust, old sort of journalism, you can say, though in a new format, in a modern format? Do you have any? Have you thought of any of these things?
I think the core of what they should do is to be true to their mission as independent media, as a fourth estate democracy,
Right.
reporting authentic information, giving people the right perspective on things that are happening around you, and being objective. Now, being objective does not mean that you don't have a view. Being objective means
Right.
that on a particular happening, you stick to what really happened. How that plays out depends upon what value system you bring to bear on that in evaluating that development, so that you can give it separately. But the facts should not be distorted. And
So you
if
mean,
you,
right, sir? Correct.
yeah, and if you do that consistently, then people will appreciate that this media outlet can be trusted. Now, if you don't do that, you might try any gimmick you like, you might try any format you like. People will not learn to trust you because you haven't lived up to the expectation of true independence and true objectivity. So that is the first thing that media houses do. Yeah, often there is this feeling that since there is so much competition, you don't really have the time to verify a story that you've got, that your reporter has got. The editor will say, you just publish it. Now, that kind of irresponsible behavior must stop. You must cross verify every bit of information you put out to the public so that the public knows that if it appeared in this particular media outlet, it must be true, it must be reliable, you can trust it. So that kind of building up that kind of trust is the most important thing, is the most important service that media outlets can do to themselves and to the public.
Okay, sir. So this is one big aspect, the very basics of journalism: objectivity and true to the mission. So let's talk journalism. A lot of people will be, listening to you, seeing you. A lot of journalism students also, and people who are in journalism as such. For them, they would have a great chance to listen to you this manner. The issue of objectivity and speed, sir. Objectivity, subjectivity. Issue of speed, do you think because of the modern pressure of going online first, because that's where the hits are, and that's where the modern so-called journalism is, has it led to compromising the issue of accuracy or objectivity to some extent? How do you see that? Because this is what a lot of people will learn when they are learning first thing in their journalism institute, or first day as an intern, or even as a journalist. Because the journalist may be good, he may want to do things good, but there is a huge pressure from within the organization, because things on the ground are different, and there is a pressure to be first. How do you put those things together? How do you, what is your take? How do you see it? What is your advice on this?
Now, I would say that the online media are a step ahead of television media. One major
Right.
limitation of television media, which is purely audiovisual, is that there is very little scope to actually to present background information. One very core strength of the print media is that what kinds of people will speak to you without being quoted, without wanting to be quoted. They want to remain anonymous, but they want to let the reporter understand the context and the background for any particular development taking place. Because that perspective is important for the journalist to understand and later relate to his readers. Why is what is happening? Now, in television, this is very difficult. You want a direct bite from a leader or a main news character. You don't have a scope to say things on background, and this sort of
Right.
creates for shallowness reporting because there is no build up of the background, there is no contextualization, and you are just making the main characters speak and do and show them on TV. Now with online, things are different. You can both have conversations on background, get the context in the narration, as well as show video, as well as show people live. So that way, online media is superior to plain TV and superior to traditional media also because you can actually show them live, give a quote, show them speaking, as well as
Right.
supplement that with background information. So that is actually very good. At the same time, the thing that you refer to of being in a hurry to beat the competition and more of skew, you know, there are so many different media outlets. One major source of advertising can hold them ransom.
Yes.
I've worked in the Times Group most of my time. Now, one major advantage of being part of a large media organization is that the organization is completely immune to pressure from anybody. You will have Tata, you will have Reliance, you will have Bharati, you will have Vodafone. All these people might have different agendas and they might try to plan stories and put pressure on the editorial team or reporters to carry their particular perspective. But there is no reason, no way a large newspaper can accommodate any particular interest because that will, displease a countervailing interest by some other equally powerful group or some other equally
Right.
powerful advertiser. So if you
Hmm.
want to keep all your advertisers in equal good humor, then you don't try to play favorites with anybody. You give everybody a fair hearing, you give everybody's view a fair outing. You don't actually try to play favorites as a newspaper organization. But that's not the case when it comes to much smaller media outlets, especially if you are a one-man operation who is used to getting advertising from one large company. You'll find it very difficult to do a fair reportage on that company because you risk losing your very business model. So these problems are there, and you know every viewer will not appreciate these kind of business risks and their interaction with what you're seeing or hearing as a source of news. And it is only a gradual experience that will make people appreciate what should be trusted and what should not be trusted.